two, one. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture. And we are back in the saddle once again, as I have with me voice actor Brian Donovan. So, welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it, Andrew. Yeah, always fun to talk about all things anime and otherwise. And of course, fan favorite Rock Lee. I even have a little 3D graphic. Look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. Um,
Oh, I
anyway,
love it.
that's the best I can do. That's woo woo. Yeah, but thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on my show, and I'm absolutely stoked because I'm a huge Naruto fan. But I want to talk about two roles. One of them is Naruto related, and the other is Digimon.
Sure.
Because it's Davis Moti Mia, I want to say, or Moto Mia. I'm really bad
Moto
at this.
Moto Mia. Yeah. No, believe me, I struggle myself. In fact, I always joke that when I was recording both those shows, and it ever got to like an authentic Japanese word or pronunciation, the whole session would shut down. I'd be flying, and then like, and then we would spend 10 to 15 minutes trying to get it just right. And I have terrible ears. Like a lot of people that come to voiceover have like a musical past and stuff, and so they got a really good ear and they can discern those things, and I can't at all. So it'd be like, uh-oh. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, Digimon.
So that's adventure too. And I know it's not, it might be your first role, but I know it's your first big role at the very least. And
Yeah.
so what was this like coming into this? Because this is one of those roles that a lot of people know you from. They still know you from it. And, obviously you took over, the lead from Digimon 1, which is Joshua Seth, and then it's
Yeah.
kind of a big deal. And it's Digimon. I don't know how to say that any other way.
Yeah, it was super cool. I was doing a show called Flint the Time Detective, which didn't live very long. It was only one season. I was working over at the Fox, building and Saban and churning that one out, and I was the lead boy on that one. It was Flint and the boy and girl, Tony Goodman and his sister, were the three leads, and it was fun, and it got my chops, like it worked me out. So I figured out what this even was and how to dub, and so that was really helpful. And then part of that team was doing Digimon, and they were really trying to find Davis for season two, and it was already a big hit. So the pressure was on not to blow it, of course. And so I think just because I knew some of the team, because I had just done a whole season of another show as the lead, they were like, okay, I think Brian can do it. So I auditioned and through what I thought would be fun and would work for Davis, and Davis, kind of like Rock Lee from Naruto, you're throttling on that line between annoying and passionate, etc., right? And so both characters can be annoying. I mean, with their passion and their everything they do is so intense, and that can be really annoying, as we know in life too, like real life. So it was just trying to find that line, that quality that people liked, but also staying true to the characters as written, which is this kind of very hyper, passionate, dramatic, character for both of them, really. And so yeah, Davis, it was a blast, man. I mean, it was super cool. It was like, as you say, it was like really my first big show, as a lead, and just kind of getting the baton passed to me from Ty, the goggles, literally the goggles. And it was also interesting that they chose that route, I think, just as the show, because a lot of shows stay true to like this core group of characters. But they did like an about face. I mean, obviously there was some through line characters, but they passed it on the torch to me, so to speak, at Davis. And so, but pretty cool, really fun experience.
And
Awesome.
one of the cool things about Digimon is that obviously you were in Digimon the movie, and then there was a bunch of other movies, and then there's some other stuff that you were involved in. And obviously, I mean, the franchise is still going on. The card game with Digimon is bigger than ever. People are still
Yeah.
talking about it, and it's like Pokemon. We're gonna jump into Naruto in a second, but what is that like to be part of what I call legacy animes that are still relevant and people are showing their kids this stuff now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm showing my kids this stuff now. I got a 8 and 10 year old, and I just let them. In fact, they're gonna watch an episode of Digimon while we're talking, so I can talk to you. I just started them up on that. They saw the first, I think, 20 episodes of Naruto, and then they started fighting each other too much. So I put the kibosh on that and said, "All right, you're gonna have to wait for Naruto because you're just fighting all the time now." Ninja fighting, of course, but that of course led to other things and tears. But yeah, the legacy stuff, man. I mean, I think anybody will tell you, that's worked on either show or any of these legacy animes, that it's spectacular. Like we had no idea when we were recording either show, Digimon or Naruto, which of course is still being recorded and stuff. So that's still, kind of a living legend. But yeah, it's a thrill. I had no idea 20 years later that the show, certainly at the Comic Cons and what have you, would be popular and still relevant. And I have fans. I mean, I have probably more Naruto fans because again, it's still on and it's a little more up to date, so to speak. And there's more episodes, clearly a lot more episodes. And it's been on Netflix during the pandemic. So Naruto is probably still um, has a heightened fan base. But I'd say 20% of the people that come up to me at Comic Cons are still fervent, really passionate Digimon fans, and that's why they want to meet me. And so it's pretty cool, amazing. And as I said, like if you ask anybody that's worked on any of these shows as actors and performers, it's thrilling, it's mind-boggling, that they're still so relevant. And to your point about like the generational thing, that's amazing too, because you'll have parents that come up to me that are in their 30s that watched it the first go, or the 20s, whatever, 20s, 30s, 40s. I mean, and they watched it the first time, and now they're bringing their kids to these Comic Cons. The kids are watching it, and yeah, it's incredible to think I'm part of something that's now 2 generations deep.
Yeah, so let's dive into Naruto because the question we all have, and it's really the only question that matters, is how'd you get the voice of Rock Lee? Because this is what we all want to know. We don't really care about anything else. This is what we
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to know.
that's it. That's it. Just how did you get the gig? Um, yeah, I guess in some ways, probably Rock Lee and Naruto is applicable more than anything else. And it's not always true, but there is relevance to it's all who you know. That famous saying, it's all who you know. And in this particular case, that same team that did Flint the Time Detective, that did Digimon, part of that team was doing Naruto. And so when Rock Lee came up in the second season, they were kind of struggling, like, oh God, what do we do with this one? Again, same thing, kind of an annoying character, ridiculously passionate, overwhelming, but really sincere and sweet, and good-hearted. Anyway, they thought of me and said, "Look, we have this character. Are you interested in still doing anime?" Because again, anime was not what anime is today, right? I mean, 20 years ago, we were the geeks and the fringe and the outliers, and Comic Cons were, kind of these small niche little things, and now, as we know, Comic Cons and the world of is massive. It's just massive. So yeah, but back then it was like, do you want to do another one of these? And I was like, yeah, let me see what it is. I'll come in and I'll audition. And so I did. I went in and auditioned, pretty traditional. Again, I knew some of the team, so that helped. They also knew that I've done now. This would be my third show, and so I think what I brought to it, they loved. We massaged it a little bit in the audition during, the 25 minutes I was in there. Asked for different things and more of this, less of that, blah, blah, blah. And so we just kind of fine tuned. And when I walked out, they seemed pretty happy, but you don't know, they don't say, oh, you got the job. They make you wait or whatever. And sometimes it's a long time. But I think in this particular case, um, it was pretty quick. I feel like I got the job. Like they let me know a few days later and said, hey man, Rock Lee's yours if you want him. And so then I said, yeah, let's play. But I've said this before, and so I'm not unearthing anything, but I have told fans and different podcasts that when I first started Rock Lee, I was actually really troubled by the relationship with Guy Sensei. I thought it was unhealthy. I thought it was codependent. I thought it was, it was just, it was abusive. And I was like, whoa, like, I'm not sure I want to sign up for this. This isn't exactly the messaging that I want to, promote as a human being, let alone, in a property or creative property that I'm doing. But Mary Elizabeth, the director at the time, was super, um, kind of talked me through it. Basically, said, "Look, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I feel you. But just trust me. Like the ultimate messaging of it, the relationship that evolves is really a good one, and worthy. It kind of like the ends justify the means." And I was like, all right. And I liked Mary Elizabeth. We had worked together before, and I trusted her, and so I just kept going, kept doing it, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, let's
I
let's let's talk about this because
Yeah,
there's some seriously awesome moments in the first part of Naruto. Obviously when he meets Sasuke for the first time and blows the kisses to Sakura is a great moment.
yeah,
Obviously the Gaara fight was awesome.
yeah,
I mean when he's opening up, what did he open up like six of the gates out of nowhere? I mean,
yeah,
it's awesome. And then following that, obviously when he the sound five and then he saved Naruto's behind was great, and then Gar saved his behind. That was a
yeah,
great moment. And
yeah.
there's a few filler episodes that were hilarious too. And so, what was this like? Because it's really cool in Naruto in particular, where every character gets a moment to shine, and Rock Lee has gotten a bunch of them. And so, what was that like? Because he's not Naruto, he's not Sakura, he's not Sasuke. But in those, maybe 30 episodes throughout the first part of Naruto, he's the star of that show.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I think Miley, who plays Naruto, would beg to differ, and Sasuke and Sakura, but
Not the
um,
whole show, just those 30
yeah,
episodes.
just those 30 episodes. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's a tremendous arc that Rock Lee has in those 30 episodes. And yeah, and it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. It was really fun to play, and it was also um especially from the Gara fight on, and he drops his weights and all of that during the tuning exams. I mean, I think we all knew, not just the Rock Lee character, but I think we all knew or felt like the show was taking a turn. Like it was like, and I think most fans would say that that was the moment, when they were like hook, line, and sinker. It was like, oh, you're like, whoa, like this is something special and different. And even today, I think in anime news and whatever. I mean, there's, that fight still ranks in the top 10 or certainly the top 20 of anime fights, ever. So that was, it was cool. And we watched that in real time. When I went in that for that session that day, Marian Elizabeth, she's like, oh my God, wait till you see what's coming. This is crazy. And she goes, I want you to watch the Japanese, like start to finish. I want you to watch this fight, the scene, and get a feel for it. And so we're watching it, and like I was like any other fan watching the show, it was like, holy mackerel. And so it was exciting. So then when we started recording it, it was awesome, and you felt the weight of it. It was exciting. It was like, oh wow, this is a great show. Like this is gonna be super cool. And even stylistically, artistically, it was a great, beautiful scene. And I mean, just the tuning exam dojo, where they fought was super cool. And then of course the weights dropping, and it was just dramatic and
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. And it's there's so many AMVs. I don't know if I could say that, but there's also all sorts of things about it. It's obviously there's so many GIFs about it or GIFs about it. I use
yeah,
them at least 2 or 3 times a month now.
not That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, it's a thrill. Look, my son, my 10-year-old has a school computer, and there's opportunity to change his little cursor, and he said, oh my God, he comes running into my office one day, and he's like, Dad, they got Rock Lee. He's like a cursor, like I can use his head, I mean, that's the thrill, especially because I'm able to share it now with my kids. They're finally at an age where they know what daddy does. They can appreciate what daddy does. They get a thrill out of it. And to tie it into things like that are just so random, like I'm his little cursor head on his computer, like this little Rock Lee head floats around. I mean, that's pretty cool. And as I said, they're watching Digimon right now. So
And to even go further into Rock Lee, this is what's cool about Naruto is there's so many video games, there's the movies, there's also Pop Funkos. It sounds weird when you say that, but Hot Topic has a Rock Lee Pop Funko. And not every anime gets a Pop Funko. There's so much merchandise now too. And it's a weird thing because you're seeing a character you voice, and people are like, I got my Rock Lee action figure. Like it sounds weird, but it's not so weird and it's cool. And so, what is that like for you? Because it's the gift that keeps on giving. And to see you on a Pop Funko and see the character, and obviously, people probably when you do conventions bring you a Pop Funko to sign because people love this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is a phenomenon. I mean, the first time I saw any merchandising that I represented in some way, like, obviously the original, the Digimon was the first stuff. You'd see um, yeah, yeah. I was just like, whoa, I'm an action figure, or I'm a, like that. And for some people, that's the dream. That was their dream. I didn't necessarily think when I came to pursue the arts and acting that I'd ever be an action figure. That wasn't my goal. But yeah, it's phenomenal. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even really know what a Funko Pop was until probably pretty late in the game, and then they issued one of Rock Lee, as you said, with Hot Topic, and I had a distributor reach out and say, "Hey, look, I got 100 Rock Lee pops. Do you want to sign them?" And I was like, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. And he's like, yeah, these Funko Pops. And I had to look it up. I was like, what is a Funko Pop? Like what are these things? And and yeah, it was crazy. And I was like, wow, I'm this thing. I'm a Funko Pop. And so he did. He came over, and I signed 100 Funko Pops. And next thing I know, it's and then it didn't really, like, the floodgates didn't open at that point, but pretty soon after they did. Like, once they started really taking off, and people really started bringing them to the Comic Cons, and then of course we were dealing with the pandemic at the time, like when they really tipped, and so the collectibles blew up. Disposable income, people were like, wow, I want to spend my money on stuff, and whatever. And so yeah, collectibles kind of tipped and became this crazy phenomenon, and they still are. Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, I would say, 5 years ago, performers were signing prints, and now I sign at least half the things I sign are Funko Pops, at least. So it's pretty cool.
It's a very cool space. I have a voice actor friend who just got a Pop Funko of Jinbei.
Oh, not
So
who?
Daniel Ba just got his first Pop Funko of Jinbei from One Piece. And it's
Yeah,
a big deal because nobody realized it was coming. And we were joking around on a podcast that we were doing, and lo and behold, it's here. So it's kind of a crazy thing. And the entire internet's just gone wild, which is
yeah, yeah.
awesome. So it's
You need something, buddy?
absolutely fantastic.
No, 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 no. Sorry. Come on, you know what to do. Sorry about that. They wanted one more Digimon. I gotta put the hammer down. Oh, that's super cool though. I'm thrilled for them because it is. It's a game changer, really. Because as already established, everybody wants the Funko Pops. It's all about Funko Pops. It's all about getting them signed. And it's amazing. And that is funny. Like Funko is interesting that way, because you just don't know which ones they're gonna make or why they make them. Like I have Doug Earhart. He's Earhart. I do a lot of comments with him, and he's on Naruto, and he's got 3 Funkos, but he said one of them no one even knows what it is. They don't even know that character that I do. So this thing sits and gets dusty on his table, and no one really knows what it is. And so it's really interesting how and why Funko picks the characters that they do. Like, I personally think, and this isn't just because it's mine, but I still think Davis from Digimon has one of the most awesome anime costumes ever, with the flame jacket and the goggles, and I think it would make an amazing Funko Pop. But lo and behold, they don't have Davis from Digimon, which, as you say, is like a legacy property. But then they have these really obscure Funkos that no one's even cares about, or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting how and why they pick what they do. And I
Hey, I
still
have like two of them.
what's that?
I have two Rock Lees, so I'm not
Oh, you
complaining.
do?
But,
Nice.
let me just make it crystal clear, and you might be upset with me when I tell you this. On my Instagram, I put Rock Lee next to Gara.
That's okay. I don't think you're the first person to do that. In fact, I had someone come up to me with both to say, "Hey, I want you to sign both because this is the Rock Lee we know and love." And this, and I was just about to say, like, I think again, like all these Funko Pop ideas, but I think an amazing one would be Rock Lee and Gara, like in midst the fight. Something like that would be just super cool. But who knows? Who knows why they make what they make and which ones and you know.
And then I want to talk about one thing before I give you a chance to promote yourself, because I know time is limited, but you did the Rock Lee spinoff too.
I did, and I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of people it's a little more obscure, but it
It's
is on
candy,
Hulu. I
man.
saw
It's candy. That's what it is.
It's candy, dude. It's candy. That's a great way to say it. And it's on Hulu. No one really comes up to me. Like every once in a while, I'll have a fan be like, "Oh my God, Rocklina's Ninja Pals! It's my favorite. I love it because it is. It's just candy. It's so silly. They're little truncated versions. It's fun. It was super fun to record. There's 49 of them. I still think it's playing on Hulu. It's called Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals. But that was a blast, And that the production company said same thing. They said, do you want to do this? And I was like, well, I don't want someone else to voice Rock Lee. So yeah, I'm in. But yeah, it was really fun, super silly, borderline irreverent at times, and just kind of skirts the little more Adult Swim feel, with some more adult themes. But yet they look younger and they're more truncated, as I said, and cute. But yeah, it's great, man. That was super fun. That was really fun to do.
I enjoyed what I've seen of it. I think it's just brilliant. I think it's the type of thing that if you're a Naruto fan, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna like it, and it's fun to watch. And that's the whole point of it, is that it's not supposed to be serious, and it's a nice breather. It's a nice breather.
Yeah, it's fun, especially in this world we live in, man. It's all too serious. So, why not find some fun and silly?
And then obviously, I know your time is limited. I know Digimon is taking precedent right now. Um, but I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself because I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I know you've done some documentary work. I know that you sometimes get salty in certain things. Yeah, that's a reference to Alpha and Omega. I just want to make that crystal clear. Um,
Yeah, I
I
get
do my
salty.
homework on this
Very
show.
salty.
But where could people find you? Where could people check out everything else you've done? Because you've done a lot of interesting things just beyond voice acting. And so where can people hit you up, follow you, find you at a con, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, thank you for having me and thank you for your time. And yeah, you can find like I haven't started TikTok yet and everybody's telling me to, but mostly my primary is Instagram. You can go to Brian Donovan _1. Love to see you, say hello, whatever. I do a pretty good chronology of like the cons that I've done or I'm doing. I also like to profile like some fan art, so I usually try to do that too. But yeah, so that's like probably the biggest one as far as social media goes. Facebook too, I'm on there too. But yeah, and I did a documentary, as you mentioned, about my little sister, and it's critically acclaimed and really well reviewed on Amazon Prime Video, called Kelly's Hollywood, and that was just an amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I finished it quite a few years ago now. But that has led me to disability advocacy and speaking engagements around the world, and so that's like a big part of my life, which I love. And then there's some chit chat about some Digimon stuff coming up, and yeah, so we'll see. But it's good. It's really great that there's kind of all these things percolating. And you really never know. I mean, the blessing and the curse of this business and being an artist is it's you never know like what's coming, what's happening or not, and so then you have to go through those droughts too and those crazy oh my God, am I ever going to work again periods, and then something will come down the path and you're like, whoa, like amazing. So yeah, like I think part of the trick really being an artist is regulating, um, you know, just expectation and also like not failure necessarily, but rejection and and all that stuff because it really is, you're really only as good as your last gig, as that saying goes. It's like, um, yeah, and you just keep your fingers crossed that like, work keeps on coming. Yeah. Anyway, but that's it in a nutshell. But I really can't thank you again for having me and spending time with your viewers slash listeners, and I really appreciate all of you guys for watching the shows and supporting them and loving, of course, old Bushy Brow and Davis from Digimon. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks so much.
And then I'm just gonna say my little thing is that obviously you need to support your voice actors and you need to watch anime legally is the first thing you should do. There are
Yeah.
things like Crunchyroll, Hulu. There's some other things out there that you could watch, things legally that make a big difference. Also, at cons, you should go up and you should buy things from people. That's a big thing. It makes a big difference. You should be following people if they have social media. If they have stores, you should be buying things if you want their products from stores and things of that nature, because this does help tremendously. And also sharing things out. Every time you share out a gift of Rock Lee, it helps directly and indirectly. So that's something that I really encourage. It makes a difference. You might not think it does, but it does. And then as far as I'm concerned, obviously you can follow me on social media, on Twitter at Pop Anime Comics. Facebook is Pop Anime Comics. My new thing is Conversations in Pop Culture because my Instagram is hacked. You can still follow me on Pop Anime Comics, but if you want to engage with me, it's Conversations in Pop Culture. So you can check that out. And I am very, very receptive. I have 12 followers, guys, but don't worry. We're going to get to 13 by tomorrow is the goal.
Bye tomorrow,
If
baby.
not 14, but I digress right there, and I want to give you the final word.
Yeah, well, no, thank you. And again, we would be nothing without the fans. And I really appreciate your shout out for support and legal viewing and support and all of that. And look, financially or otherwise, if you come to a con, please come up to my table. You don't have to buy anything at all. Just come and say hello. I give free hugs with permission. I really can't thank you guys enough, and I like to show my appreciation in all ways. But yeah, so please come up, say hello, and if you want something, great. But if you just want to say hello and chit chat about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness, let's do it. But thanks again, everybody. Thanks again for having me, Andrew.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, and everybody